So it is the morning after the night before, and look, I am still a bit frustrated. I'm very disappointed that we've not come away with a Community Shield yesterday, which would have been another trophy for Ten Hag in what is now the start of his third season, which would have been lovely to say 3-3 already, but ultimately the trophy has gone to Manchester City. But the frustration this time comes from the fact that we've not won the game. The frustration's not come from we've been outplayed and we've been obliterated and this looks really bad going into the new season. There are definitely aspects that don't look good going into the new season, but considering where I was this time a week ago after being embarrassed by Liverpool once again, and we could have been on the end of another drumming from Liverpool in pre-season, to we outplayed Manchester City yesterday, created a bunch of golden opportunities, looked absolutely defensively solid, only conceded one shot on target in the entire match that went in, and then ultimately losing on penalties. Yeah, that's the different type of frustration, but I'd rather be in this position than the position I was in last week. And yeah, I am gutted, I'm devastated that we've not won that Community Shield yesterday, because we absolutely should have. And that is a positive. I don't want people to sit here and go, laugh at Manchester United that they lost that game yesterday, but laugh because we threw it. Don't laugh because we lost, because that's a whole different kettle of fish. And I know people are going to be sitting there going, yeah, you only conceded one shot to Manchester City, but they were playing their kids. O'Reilly was playing, McAtee was playing, Rico Lewis was playing. But let's not get it twisted. Kobe Mainoo was playing. Alejandro Garnacho was playing. Toby Collier was playing. Ahmad was playing. Okay, Oscar Bob was like... There was as many youngsters playing for Manchester United as were playing for Manchester City. Put some respect on the fact that we've just got quality youngsters and Manchester City's academy players don't get as much game time. Our teams were the same age. So that shouldn't be looked into it. Haaland was still playing. Diaz was still playing. Akanji was still playing. Ederson was still playing. Bernardo Silva came on. De Bruyne came on. Show some respect. At the end of the day, we played some good football yesterday. And to all of those who go, well, what would have happened if City played their full first team? Well, they played their full first team 3 months ago. We played the exact same tactics and we beat them then. And that was when we had our full complement available to us. Let's not forget, our back two yesterday was Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. And Erling Haaland didn't have a shot. Put some respect on that. So I'm not going to talk about that because obviously, like I said, I'm just disappointed and gutted that we've not won the football match. But I can't have any complaints about the performance whatsoever. It was fantastic. And it's a good building block going into the new season. If we can defend the way we defended in that match and we can create the chances we created in that match, we will have a good season. And what's absolutely hilarious coming out of this match, and obviously I can reflect on it now that it's hilarious, is I've spent the last 2 seasons under Erik Ten Hag moaning about the service to the centre forward. Be that Højlund, be that Weghorst, be that Ronaldo, be that Rashford, whoever. The issue was, and even going back even further, when it was Oli and Jose and whoever, when it was Lukaku up front or Ibrahimovic up front or whoever, over the last basically decade, our service into the box has been horrendous. Yesterday, against arguably the best team in world football, our chance creation and our service into the box was the best I've seen in years. Problem was, there was no centre forward on the pitch. So, Mason Mount just wasn't in the right position. Scott McTominay wasn't arriving at the right position at the right time. Rashford wasn't getting in at the back post at the right time. If Højlund was on that pitch, if Xerxes was on that pitch, I'm utterly convinced we'd have won that game. Because the balls into the box from Casemiro, from Bruno, from Ahmad, even some of them from Rashford, some of them from Dalot, they were some of the best creation passes I've seen from Manchester United in years. And no one was there. They will be there when the striker is fit. There's talk yesterday that we're apparently going to go back in for Evan Ferguson with the injury concerns over Højlund, which is an interesting one, but it's not one for me to talk about. And we'll talk about the transfers, because obviously a load of transfers went through yesterday in regards to Wan-Bissaka, De Ligt and Mazraoui. So I'll cover them in a separate video probably tomorrow. But you've got to look at the positives from that game. We played some fantastic football. The passing, the build-up play, like I say, the balls into the box were fantastic. And on another day, we would have won that match. But it comes back to the whole shoulda, woulda, whatever that we talked about in the Liverpool game. Manchester United should have won that game yesterday. If Rasmus Højlund was on the pitch, they would have won that game yesterday. However, football is not about shoulds and woulds. It's about what you get and what you deserve. You miss as many chances as we had yesterday, you don't deserve to win. It's as simple as that. You can make the argument that Manchester City hung in there, took their chance when it came, and then won the penalty shootout, so they deserve to win. And I can't argue against that. So I'm not going to argue against that. So that's the whole point. It's shoulds and woulds. The problem yesterday, and there were two big problems as to why we lost the match. It's not going to be an excuse. It's just literal fact. Number one, Marcus Rashford. If he plays against Fulham ahead of Ahmad and ahead of Garnacho, it's a crime. And this is not me trying to put down Marcus Rashford. Clearly, he still needs to go away and get his sharpness back. Like, we've got the people in the club now. We've got Ruud van Nistelrooy who can sit him down and get his finishing back up to scratch, because you can't miss the chances that he had. For me, the first one's actually worse than the second one. And I don't know if that's just because you got the behind angle of the first one. But the second one for me, Garnacho plays a good pass, but it's not a great pass because it's bobbling and it's on his left foot. So he's tried to get it on the bounce and it just comes off the top of his shin and it goes onto the post. It's a bad miss. It's not a good look. But it's a much tougher chance than the first one was, because the first one is exactly where Marcus Rashford wants it. It's coming across his body. He just has to open it up, whip it in the far corner like he did all those times 2 seasons ago. The build-up was fantastic. We've got him in the right spot. And he puts it like 15 yards wide. It's not even close. At least on the second one, he hits the post. The first one is so far wide. That is not good enough for a player at this level. And this is what I'm saying. You look at Garnacho, the impact that he made coming on at right wing, by the way, not his natural position. Garnacho is so much better on the left. You got to say, if Garnacho was in both of those positions, Garnacho would have scored both of those goals. And like as I say, when you then put that compared to Ahmad in the first half, considering how many plaudits Gvardiol was getting at the back end of last season, Ahmad was ripping him to bits. He was inside, he was outside. I hope Anthony was watching, by the way, because he was just jinking in and out and in and out. They couldn't touch him. They didn't know where to go. He was getting inside. He was creating chances. The setup for Mount, just like I said already, Højlund's on the pitch. That's in the back of the net, because Højlund would have been in that position. Mount wasn't sharp enough. He's not a striker. I'm not going to have a go at him for not being in that position because he's not a striker. It's just disappointing and gutting that he couldn't get on the end of it because it was such a brilliant play from Ahmad. And this is the point. Ahmad should be on the right. Garnacho should be on the left. Hopefully Xerxes is available to play up front with Bruno off him, because I don't want to see the whole false nine thing again. I'll be a little bit more inclined if he decides to go with Rashford, Garnacho and Ahmad as the front three. I'll be a little bit more okay with that if Xerxes is not available, but I don't want to see Bruno and Mount, Sancho and Bruno in that double up again. I just don't think it's a good idea. Maybe McTominay, but again, he had his big chance to knock back into the area from Maguire, and he just completely shanked it. I couldn't believe he missed his chance either. So that's reason why, number one, why we've lost this game, because we've not taken our gilt-edged chances, and that is probably my biggest concern coming out of this match, is that we did have chances in that first half against Liverpool last week, and we missed them. We had big chances against Arsenal in that pre-season game, and we missed them. And we've had even bigger chances in a game that mattered this time against Manchester City in the Community Shield, and we've missed them. So that is a concern going into next season. But at least this time around, the defence did their job, which they didn't against Arsenal and they didn't against Liverpool. Which then brings us on to the second reason why we lost that. Oh, we drew in normal time, shall we say. We obviously lost on penalties. The second reason why we lost in normal time is because he put Facundo Pellistri on at right back. Like, he's not a right back. We were speaking about it last week with Scanlon. Scanlon's an attacking midfielder. When he was taking Wan-Bissaka off, he was putting Scanlon on at right back. He didn't play Oganai in the pre-season tour. He's obviously not playing Oganai in this game either. Instead, he's taking a right winger and putting them at right back. If the plan was to take Dalot off, it's a community. Put a right back on. If it means you have to take Oganai, then just take Oganai. Like, I was a little bit disappointed not to see Harry Amas as well in that same vein. Like, I get it. Play Martinez at left back, move him in when we want to then bring someone on. But that didn't work either, because then you put Pellistri on at right back. Just take Harry Amas. Why was Harry Amas not available to us? Why couldn't we bring him on at left back and keep Dalot at right back, and we wouldn't have had to bring Pellistri on. I don't understand that. Like, one of them should have been on the bench. So maybe Ten Hag doesn't believe in Oganai or Harry Amass just yet, but to me, it just would have made more sense to have a fullback available to us on the bench if the plan was always to take Dalot off. So I don't know if there's something wrong with Dalot, especially when you consider the fact that Martinez played the whole game and Martinez has been playing all summer, whereas Dalot didn't play much for Portugal, and then they got knocked out earlier than Argentina did. So I don't know, that was a bit of a weird one for me, and ultimately that decision is what cost us the equaliser. Don't get me wrong, brilliant skill from Oscar Bob. He completely skinned Martinez, brilliant from him, good ball to the back post, but what chance has Pellistri got against a world-class player like Bernardo Silva? You look at that goal again. You look at the movement from Bernardo Silva. And you know what? To be fair, I always moan about Dalot at the back post, so maybe he may have got in front of Dalot anyway. But poor old Pellistri's got absolutely no chance. And unfortunately, that goal comes in the last minute of the game, which means we go to penalties. And the penalty shootout, obviously, the one name we're going to talk about is Jadon Sancho. I'm not going to have a go at Johnny Evans. Like, when you're taking the 8th penalty, you're expecting those sort of players to miss. I can moan about Onana going again, but each to their own. I wasn't too fussed about him doing that. I was more fussed when he dived about 2 minutes before Ruben Diaz took his penalty. That was embarrassing. Like, Ruben Diaz hadn't kicked the ball yet, and Onana was already on the floor. That was embarrassing. If you want to do you want to do your stupid stuff, you do your stupid stuff. But Jadon Sancho missed the crucial penalty, or not the crucial penalty, but missed a crucial penalty at Wembley in a final 3 years ago. I don't think he's taken one since. I don't remember him taking one since. But he should not have been taking one of those penalties. When you look at the penalty that McTominay took in sudden death, when you look at the penalty that Martinez took in sudden death, you've got to ask yourself why Jadon Sancho was going up when he's got previous of missing in big finals on, big penalties. I've no issue with the rest of those penalties. We played some fantastic penalties in that shootout. And it's just gutting that it's the same player that's gone up and missed again. So definitely food for thought on that one if other shootouts come up in the future. I'm not convinced Jadon Sancho may even be at Manchester United come the end of this transfer window, but we'll see. Like I say, for me, when you're talking about wingers, it's Amad and Garnacho, it's Rashford and probably still Anthony. You heard his comments the other day. He thinks he's back, so I'll reserve my judgment on that. Although, again, I'd probably still play Pellistri ahead of him as well. And if I'm going to get rid of anyone right now, I'm getting rid of Sancho and I'm getting rid of Anthony. But it is what it is. Like I say, tomorrow we'll be back to discuss new transfers. But I'm very happy. I'm a lot more positive going into this week before the start of the season. Obviously, we kick off the season against Fulham on the opening night on Friday night. My full league predictions will be coming out over the next couple of days. So make sure you stick around to find out what I've gone for in that regard. But I'm a lot more positive about Manchester United going into the season off the back of that Community Shield. Devastated we've not come away with the trophy. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you very soon.